Why, hello there, and welcome to this video. Today, we're going to be talking about the RNC speech, the Trump RNC speech. That's what we're going to be talking about today. But first, my name is Leah. I'm a new progressive YouTuber. I'm here. This is my third ever politics show here on YouTube. I'll be doing a show every Wednesday and Saturday. So if you are interested in that, if you like the vibes or whatever, you want to hit a like button, you want to subscribe, you want to comment, you want to do all that wonderful stuff to really help me out, that would be great because I could use the help. My channel could definitely use the help. But yeah, this is the second segment. I did a pretty long segment about Biden, but now we are going to talk about Trump. We're going to be talking about his speech because he had his first really big speech since the assassination attempt on his life, and yeah, we're going to be talking about that. I do have a lot of opinions. I have a lot of things that I want to say about this speech specifically, but we're just going to jump in and watch some of it so that we can kind of get the ball rolling.
This evening by expressing my gratitude to the American people for your outpouring of love and support following the assassination attempt at my rally on Saturday. As you already know, the assassin's bullet came within a quarter of an inch of taking my life. So many people have asked me, what happened? Tell us what happened, please. And therefore, I will tell you exactly what happened, and you'll never hear it from me a second time because it's actually too painful to tell.
I do want to say right off the bat that his energy was different for this whole speech. This entire speech, his energy was like this, which is different from his normal vibes or whatever. Unfortunately, I have seen quite a few Trump rallies, and normally he has this super bombastic energy that's just this unstoppable vibe of you can't stop me from telling you how I feel like it is or whatever. And it is what it is. That's sort of one of the things that draws people to Trump more than anything else is his vibe of being so confident and so quote unquote strong or whatever. But you have him starting out this speech by telling you that he's going to talk about the assassination attempt, but he's never going to talk about it again because after this, he feels like it's too painful to talk about. I really didn't expect this, actually. I don't know if this is true or not. He could just be lying. He could talk about the assassination attempt more than this, or maybe he just means that he'll reference it but he won't give the full story or whatever. I'm not really sure, but the idea that he's not gonna talk about the assassination attempt because it's too scary, it makes him feel bad, that's kind of wild. Republicans do not respect that kind of thing. I honestly expected him to get on stage and be like, I am never gonna stop talking about this because I almost lost my life and blah 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 blah, and it's important, whatever. But yeah, he looks dejected or something. He looks really sad right here.
It was a warm, beautiful day in the early evening in Butler Township in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Music was loudly playing and the campaign was doing really well. I went to the stage and the crowd was cheering wildly. Everybody was happy. I began speaking very strongly, powerfully, and happily because I was
he's almost reflecting on how he used to be. As a young man, he was so confident. As a young boy, a young lad, Donald Trump was merely a boy until he got graced by that bullet, and now he's a man. And he's I don't know. It's just, this is a really weird energy.
Discussing the great job my administration did on immigration at the southern border. We were very proud of it.
They were really proud of it. Apparently not anymore.
To the right was a large screen that was displaying a chart of border crossings under my leadership. The numbers were absolutely amazing. In order to see the chart, I started to, like this, turn to my right and was ready to begin a little bit further turn, which I'm very lucky I didn't do.
Actually kind of sounds like he doesn't really know how to talk about this. The way that he's talking about this, it kind of makes it sound like he didn't really think through, like, he hasn't really processed this, you know what I mean? Like, that's how it comes off to me. It kind of comes off to me like he's still like, I was head turning and bullet, you know?
When I heard a loud whizzing sound and felt something hit me really, really hard on my right ear, I said to myself, wow, what was that? It can only be a bullet. And moved my right hand to my ear, brought it.
I actually don't believe that he thought it was a bullet immediately. I mean, with the gunshots, like maybe he did think it was a bullet or something. When I watched the footage of the shooting, I just think he looks confused. I think that until he puts his hand to his ear and sees the blood, I think he looks completely confused. The gunshots happen, you know, he feels something. I think he just is confused. Maybe it's fireworks, maybe it's not a gun. He sees the blood and he realizes I've been shot. You know what I mean? Like that's what it seems like to me. I don't think that he felt a bullet graze his ear and thought I was just shot by an AR-14 or AR-15. I mean, don't come after me. I don't know much about guns.
Down, my hand was covered with blood, just absolutely blood all over the place. I immediately knew it was very serious, that we were under attack, and in one movement proceeded to drop to the ground. Bullets were continuing to fly as very brave Secret Service agents rushed to the stage, and they really did. They rushed to the stage.
Okay, and like honestly, we could listen to him talk about the whole shooting and stuff like that. But if you want to watch the whole speech, you can. This is just my video, so I'm gonna kind of cut around here. And you may be thinking to yourself, okay, he does seem kind of depressed. He kind of seems dejected. He kind of seems down a little sad. He doesn't have that same energy he normally has. But he's talking about being shot right now, right? Like that's what he's talking about right now, is being shot. So maybe it's just that. Maybe it's just because he's talking about the assassination attempt. So let's move forward and to him talking about, you know, normal stuff, like, well, not really normal, but you know what I mean?
We unite this evening more determined than ever. I am more determined than ever, and so are you. So is everybody in this room. Thank you. Thank you very much. Our resolve is unbroken and our purpose is unchanged to deliver a government that serves the American people better than ever before. Nothing will stop me in this mission because our vision is righteous and our cause is pure. No matter what obstacle comes our way, we will not break, we will not bend, we will not back down, and I will never stop fighting for you, your family, and our magnificent country.
Like, okay, there's a little bit of that energy, right? There's a hint of life there. Okay, let's keep going.
Never. And everything I have to give, with all of the energy and fight in my heart and soul, I pledge to our nation tonight. Thank you very much. I pledge that to our nation. We're going to turn our nation around, and we're going to do it very quickly. Thank you. This election should be about the issues facing our country and how to make America successful, safe, free, and great again.
So, like, okay, is he peaking right there? Like, is that the peak of his energy? Let's go forward a little bit.
In fact, some very serious people said that we should take that letter and put it as part of the Republican platform. That would be an honor, wouldn't it? Right, Mr. Congressman? But it captivated so many, so I also want to thank my entire family for being here. Don, Kimberly, Ivanka and Jared, Eric and Lara, Tiffany and Michael.
Like he almost seems just kind of sad, you know, like old sad man. Let's keep going.
Is he? Is he up? Where is he? Boy, oh boy. You know, they may call that entertainment. I know about entertainment, but when he used to lift a 350-pound man over his shoulders and then bench press him 2 rows into the audience, I say, maybe entertainment, but he is one strong son of a gun. I will tell you, I watched it many times. There aren't a lot of entertainers that can do that, right? You were fantastic. Thank you very much. Followed by Eric. What was that all about? Boy, that was good. I didn't want to really come up here. But he was so great, and he's such a good young man. He went through a lot of...
He really didn't want to come up here. I feel like that was like really honest. He was just like sort of like, you know, I actually didn't really feel like giving this speech.
Trouble. And Don last night was incredible. They went through so much trouble. They got subpoenaed more than any people probably in the history of the United States. Every week they get another subpoena from the Democrats, crazy Nancy Pelosi, the whole thing, just boom, boom, boom. They've got to stop that because they're destroying our country. We have to work on making America great again, not on beating people. And we won. We beat them and all. We beat them on the impeachments. We beat them on indictments. We beat them. But the time that you have to spend, if they would devote that genius to helping our country, we'd have a much stronger and better country.
Okay, that was pretty rambly. Like, I'm not really sure exactly the point that he's trying to make there. Obviously, Democrats bad or whatever. But, like, you know, you just got, you know, assassination attempt or whatever. And we know that it wasn't a Democrat, but there were still all these calls to, like, turn down the temperature or whatever. And I feel like this is a good time to mention that, like, Democrats have always kind of mediated their message really well. Well, actually, no, that's a lie. They have not mediated well, but they've always, like, been careful to not, like, use overly inflammatory rhetoric. But the Republicans have, like, gone off the deep end with this stuff. Like, if you listen to the RNC speeches, like, there's this one guy who literally says that, like, if they lose in November, he says that they should be unhinged. Trump called for a bloodbath if he loses. You can't, like, you know, police speech for people on the left and then look at the right wing when they're saying stuff like this and be like, and just not say anything. You know what I mean? So I do feel like it's a little unfair, like, with media coverage since the assassination attempt. Like, obviously Trump was shot, so people were looking at Biden, like, what did you do? How did you know, and that's not even how it panned out. The shooter wasn't even affiliated with the left wing, but yeah, it seems like the shooter was actually more apolitical than anything. That's actually, maybe he was a little bit conservative. We're still learning more about the shooter as time goes on, but we know for sure, like, they weren't, like, a Biden supporter. So this whole, like, idea that, like, we need to turn down the temperature, it doesn't really matter in relation to the assassination attempt, but still, like, if anyone needs to turn down the temperature, it's these guys right here.
And Jason, the biggest star in country music. Jason, thank you for being here. Jason, thank you very much. Jason Aldean, he's good. I like his wife even better, by the way. She's here. Thank you, Jason. But I'm thrilled to have a new friend and partner fighting by my side. The next Vice President of the United States, the current Senator from Ohio, J.D. Vance, and his incredible wife, Usha.
So I would say, actually, this right here, peak of the speech. This right here, him calling out J.D. Vance and whatnot, and this, sort of like peak energy.
He's going to be a great Vice President. He's going to be great. He'll be with this country and with this movement, greatest movement in the history of our country. Make America great again. When they criticize it, they say, we're going to try and stop MAGA. I said, MAGA is making America great again. What are you going to stop? There's nothing to stop. Then they say, oh, that's right. It's very tough to fight it. And all of the people that did try and fight it have
I love how he spoke he said like one sentence about JD Vance. Like he was like, yep, he's JD Vance. And then he moved right along with that. Like he really did. It's so funny.
But he's going to be with us for a long time, and it was an honor to select him. Great student at Yale. His wife was a great student at Yale.
I was going to do an entire segment on JD Vance, but like he's an Ivy League educated Yale boy with a Yale wife. Like his wife is like a fancy lawyer. And if just watch the speech from JD Vance. Just watch it. He does not come across as like, even if you watch just the first couple minutes of it, he does not come across as like relatable to the common folk.
Met at Yale. These are two smart people. So, JD, you're going to be doing this for a long time. Enjoy the ride. And a very special thank you to the extraordinary people of Milwaukee and the great state of... Oh, there they are. There they are. You are so easy to spot. And Green Bay's going to have a good team this year, right? They're going to have a good team. They're going to have a good team. Most of the audience doesn't like it, but it's true. You're going to have a very good team this year. And by the way, Wisconsin, we are spending over $250 million here creating jobs and other economic development all over the place. So I hope you will remember this in November and give us your vote. I am trying to buy your vote. I'll be honest about that. And I promise we will make Wisconsin great again. We're going to make it so. Thank you, Mr. Governor. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm here tonight to lay out a vision for the whole nation. To every citizen, whether you're a young or old man or woman, Democrat, Republican, or independent, black or white, Asian or Hispanic, I extend to you a hand.
Somehow I doubt that they're that inclusive, but you know, let's go ahead and fast forward a little bit here. So we're going to jump ahead like 20 minutes or so. So that was like peak energy right there.
True. And there's love in the room. There's great love in the room. So I better finish strong. Otherwise we'll blow it. And we can't let that happen. Now, this was great. All of the great people that spoke, and everybody hit a home run. I mean, there's not one that I can think of where I said, oh, gee, that wasn't great. Every single person. I refuse to be the only one. Don't do that to me. They're already getting ready. See, I gave them an idea. Now, this was a great convention. This was, I think we're actually going to go home and miss it. You know, usually with a first of all, look at these crowds. You'd never have this at a convention. Look at these crowds. Love, it's about love. This week, the entire Republican Party has formally adopted an agenda for America's renewal, and you saw that.
It's all about love. It's all about love. That's why it'll be a bloodbath if we lose.
That agenda, and it's very short compared to the long, boring, meaningless agendas of the past, including the Democrats. They write these things that are hundreds of pages long, and they never read them after they're done.
And Project 2025 is like 900 pages.
In their case, fortunately, they don't read them because they're pretty bad. It's a series of bold promises that we will swiftly implement when you give us a Republican House. And Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. We have our great Speaker of the House with us tonight. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like he's lost a little bit of energy since that assassination attempt. Maybe he'll recuperate it. Maybe it's just like processing the trauma and stuff like that. but I feel like he's lost a bit here. So we're gonna go forward.
Very bad. And bad things are going to happen, and you're seeing it happen all the time. That's why, to keep our families safe, the Republican platform promises to launch the largest deportation operation in the history of our country. Even larger than that of President Dwight D. Eisenhower from many years ago. You know, he was a moderate, but he believed very strongly in borders. He had the largest deportation operation we've ever had. Just recently, I spoke to the grieving mother of Jocelyn Nungary, a wonderful woman, a precious 12-year-old girl from Houston who last month was tied up, assaulted, and strangled to death after walking to the convenience store just a block away from her house. Her body was dumped near the side of the road in a shallow creek, found by some onlookers who couldn't believe what they had witnessed. Charged with Jocelyn's heinous murder are 2 illegal aliens from Venezuela who came across our border, were in custody, and were then released into the country by this horrible, horrible administration that we have right now. I also met recently with the heartbroken mother and sister of Rachel Morin. Rachel was a 37-year-old mom of 5 beautiful children who was brutally raped and murdered while out on a run. She wanted to keep herself in good shape. It was very important to her. She was murdered. The monster responsible first killed another woman in El Salvador before he was
My cat's napping next to me and he just farted. So that's really, it's really lovely. Love that. Thank you very much, Freddie. So he just seems like he's a little lacking in energy. You know, like this should be like the most energetic he's been in a long time, because I feel like, you know, obviously that is traumatic, surviving an assassination attempt, all that other stuff. But I think in general, like it really does seem like it has affected him in a way. And maybe we'll see that progress over time. Like maybe this will weaken his campaign. Like, I'm not trying to say that the assassination attempt is going to like hurt him in the polls or like hurt him in general. But like, if he's afraid to talk about it because it's too painful for him, and if that's the way he's going to frame the event, as this big tragedy that's too painful to talk about and stuff like that, then quite frankly, it's going to be really hard for him to use that as leverage for his campaign. It's going to be really hard for him to use that if he's like afraid to talk about it, if he's like unable to talk about it because it's too painful for him. And I will say, I'm pretty interested to see how Trump speaks and how his rhetoric is like in future rallies and stuff like that. Like, I feel like he still has pretty inflammatory rhetoric. Like, it was a little bit toned down from what it normally is, but like it was still extremely hyperbolic, and he lied a bunch of times. Like, I think I saw a report he lied like 20 times. So I mean, it's the same unhinged Trump as ever. It's just that he seems tired, or just maybe a little depressed, like a little depresso, because, you know, he was shot at by a Republican or something. But like, yeah, it just, I don't know. It's kind of wild, but I feel like both candidates are running really weak campaigns right now. And there are so many people in the country who could run better campaigns than both of these candidates, but somehow they're both just, you know, the front runners of both parties. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I kind of feel like Trump has overtaken the entire Republican Party, and it's just his party now. So I'm really curious to see what happens this November with the election and everything. After talking about Biden for about an hour and now talking about Trump with the RNC speech and stuff like that, I mean, it's obvious who can present themselves better. It's obvious who's a better speaker. It's obvious who has more charisma. I'm not saying that Trump is very charismatic. I feel like that RNC speech was incredibly boring. Most of it was just kind of droning on and stuff like that, with the occasional moments of energy kind of tossed in there. But overall, it was just kind of like a depressing speech. It kind of just didn't really give me a lot of excitement or energy. And not that I would anyway get excitement or energy because it's Trump, but you know what I mean? Just like from the standpoint of what they are seeing, like I wouldn't be really all that impressed with that speech if I were a Republican. Not that they really care though. They're just going to fall in line no matter what with him, you know, like that's just the way it is or whatever. But yeah, it's just like there's a big open question, like what happens in November if they lose, you know? Like, I would really, really, really like to see Trump lose. And if he does lose, then what's going to happen? Are they going to be unhinged? Is there going to be a bloodbath? Is that what's going to happen? Or what? Like, I'm really unsure. I have no idea. This is definitely a big, unprecedented kind of situation. And I'm really nervous for November. I'm not going to lie. I started this channel mostly in large part to help with my own anxieties and stuff like that. Like, doing something kind of just makes me feel a little better. Like, I'm doing something. So at least I'm doing my part, like I'm gonna vote, but also like I'm doing this YouTube thing. So if 5 people watch this and they realize what's at stake here, and whether we like it or not, we gotta vote for not Trump, vote blue no matter who or whatever. I hate to say that. Ugh, it makes me want to throw up, but it is what it is. I keep thinking about how like 2028 and beyond, we have the real potential for like a progressive candidate if people have the appetite for it at large. Like if the general public at large has appetite for like a really progressive candidate, I could see some people like Gavin Newsom or maybe some other really younger candidates, like they have the ability to speak, present themselves well. If they can throw together a really good progressive campaign and run on it, then I mean, we could have another like Obama situation where we have a really charismatic leader and maybe a more progressive leader than like Obama, and maybe with a little bit better of a Congress situation. I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll see. The Republicans have been consistently losing since Trump got involved. They have very few wins under their belts in terms of like recent history and stuff like that. But, it's really just hard to tell like whether that kind of momentum downward is going to continue for the Republican Party, or whether this is going to be a turnaround moment for them and they're going to win this presidency and then, have another 4 years of Trump to do whatever. It's just a lot. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of, I have no idea what's going to happen. Like I can't predict the future, and I'm not going to try to act like I can or anything like that. Like it's just, there's too much at stake. And anyone that tells you that they know what's going to happen with this election, they have no idea. They're lying to you. There's no way to definitively know what's going to happen because we don't even know if Biden and Trump are going to be the final nominees for the campaign. Obviously Trump is running and that's not going to change, but in terms of Biden, like there are big questions right now, which is what my last segment was about whether he's even going to be the nominee. So like for right now, it's 2 old men that no one really wants, and maybe the Democrats will put forward someone who's a little younger, a little more energy, that can stand up for themselves and fight against Trump's lies and stuff like that, and really build a campaign of excitement and energy and hope and optimism. But yeah, that's going to bring us to the end of this segment. You can watch the full speech if you want. I wouldn't really recommend it. It's kind of boring, kind of meandering. He does just kind of return to immigration over and over and over, because that's just sort of like the big point that he feels like he can talk about that, helps fuel his campaign narrative and stuff like that, that we're in a crisis and there's an invasion and blah, 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 and whatever. Yeah. So if you appreciated the video, if you like the vibes, if you like what you're seeing here, make sure to leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about like Trump's performance here. Do you think it was weaker than normal? Do you feel like he was like sort of like low energy, a little weird? Like there were some slurring moments, like some gaffes, but I didn't really play them. I couldn't find clips of them or anything. So, it is what it is. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that, wanted to talk about the speech, wanted to talk about things and stuff and whatnot. And I'll be back on Wednesday with another show. It kind of feels like every time I put a show up, like literally that day, there's some like crazy breaking news, like the day of my show. And I record the night before. So like, obviously I can't include breaking news the day of the show coming up, especially because they go up early in the day and the news happens usually later in the day. But like, as time goes on and I get better at this, I would like to maybe try posting more frequently or something like that, especially if in the long term, if I were to grow enough to like be able to like get maybe a little bit of help with things or something on the back end, that would be pretty helpful for me. I'd be able to make more content. It would be fun and wonderful. And if you want to make that a reality, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. We've already got 20 subs here. And I do gotta say, I really appreciate anyone who hit the subscribe button. That really does mean a lot to me, that it's not sitting at a big fat 0 right now. And hopefully we can continue to grow. I'm going to go ahead and set up a Discord soon. I'm going to work on that. It's going to take me some time because like I said, I have a full-time job, so I'm kind of busy, but I would like to set up a Discord just to be able to chat with people that sub to me, that are interested in learning more about me and my politics and what I'm here to do. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Until then, if you would just do me this little tiny favor, it's not very much, it's just a little bitty favor. Drink yourself some water.